G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to take you through how I prepare a tree for exhibition. Now, my bonsai club, Bonsai Northwest Melbourne, will be having our exhibition on the 27th and 28th of July 2019, and I'll put a link to an advertising item, a poster that we've got below in the comments, so have a look there for all the details. But I'd like to show you raw. This tree is a lovely Trident maple, probably one of my favourite trees in my collection. It's a root over a rock. It's a tree growing alongside a rock that's stuck. It's a beautiful rock, very old tree, very long history in Melbourne, and it's actually developing really well. It's starting to come along so well. The twigs are starting to form. You can see the lower branches probably a little bit thin, while the upper branches are starting to get a bit too thick. So today's about taking you through the process of how I prepare this tree and get it into exhibition ready. Now, this is warts and all. If you want to see, have a look at the mess down here. So over the over the autumn, leaves have fallen, leaves are on there, weeds have grown. So if you've got time to look after all your trees all the time, you make sure you weed, etc. So this is a process I want to take you through, how I go about preparing this tree for exhibition. Some of the things I look out for, you'll notice here. Again, in previous videos, you've seen me with long branches. I've got to cut those back shorter. Now you do see some wire on the trees. So this was wired actually last year for the exhibition in the convention, the AABC convention. And the wire's still on there, but the wire isn't cutting in. So you can imagine how slow growing this tree has become. It might grow really quickly at the top, but in the middle and towards the bottom, it's very slow growing. So the wire isn't even cutting in from last year. Maybe a little bit there, but we'll just check the wire, take off what we don't need. And it maybe needs a little bit of wire reapplied to the tree. And so it's just a matter of following the same process as always. So firstly, I'll just clean up all the mess down here, or maybe not, maybe I'll leave that to the end. It's just ugly. And once I cut all the twigs off, then I'll clean it up. But predominantly want to work at the top. So there's some very heavy stuff starting to happen. So that's really heavy. And it's throwing a little bit, it just needs to come back a little bit just to create that big canopy. But the twigginess is starting to really come along nicely. Look at the top view, looking good. So over the years, you just start to develop the tree slowly, surely, and you get the twigginess you need. So let's get started on trying to bring these trees back to exhibition looking. Okay. All right, so I pretty much just have wire cutters and my twig shears for this job, and I slowly go through it. Sometimes when I do this, I tend to look at the bottom first, and once I set the bottom, you can set the rest of the tree. So I always look for the bottom. Now, I can just see a little bit. You might need to get a bit of wire on these guys, just to fan them out a little bit. It's starting to go a bit. I like the upward movement, but not at the base here. I want to actually bring it a little bit down and let these guys go up. So a little bit down and let these guys go up. Now, I don't usually touch the bottom in terms of trimming that too much, because it's the weakest area of the tree. I want to give it as much energy and strength as it can be. So it's very, very rare that I actually cut anything off and reduce. I like to try and leave that as big as I can, and just to have as much energy when the new leaves come out. It's got enough energy, keeps the lower branches strong and healthy. So pretty much this will just need a bit of wire, I reckon, around here, which I'll get on later, because all I do first is look around the tree and start to reduce the twigs and so on, or reduce the length. So I can see at the back here, we just need to fan out some of these branches later. Starting to cross each other, so we just have to get some wire on there to fan them out, just spread them out a bit more. I like the natural, so it's coming, this is a beautiful branch here, it's sloping down and then the pad is coming back up, which is how I think deciduous trees should grow. So looking through again, probably just needs a bit of wire there. So let's have a look at the side. Hopefully it doesn't whack the tank at the back there. Yeah, so again, there's not much I can do here. I'm not going to reduce too much. I like the twigginess developing. It'll be just a matter of just checking the wire, checking if I need a bit more wire. but that's about it. I don't think this needs wiring at all. I like the natural feel. Maybe this little guy here. I'll show you. See how it's pointing a bit too much up, just to get it maybe in the position around there somewhere. Move it around. I like this lower one starting to develop. Gives it that depth and fullness. So yeah. So the lower branches, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. These three, pretty much I'm not even going to trim. I'm just going to leave them. I'm going to go around and maybe have a look at the wire next when I get down to them. But yeah, so they're going to be left alone. I like them as they are. And let's see how the rest of the tree looks. So again, as I move up, this side looks quite nice. There's a branch here that's a bit starting to get out of shape. This branch probably needs a bit of wire, but I don't see much trimming there required. When I do come to here, I will notice, so I've seen that this branch here is dead. So it's just dead. It's just twiggy. You can tell when they're dead. Sometimes you just lose little twigs, but what can you do? That's how it is. But then I've come out to here, and I've shown you before. I'll show you with my hand background. The silhouette is really, it's just, this branch has grown too long, too far out. So I'm going to come back to a closer twig. So taking a bit off. Again, same problem here. Bring back to an, you'll see there's some buds. You can just see some buds where they could be. The little buds in there that will grow next year. So I'm just looking out for anything that's grown too far out, going around next level. So I'm going to go around and round and round. Yeah, this guy I think has just come out a bit too much. This guy here a bit too much. Yeah, towards the back, because probably I do give this tree a little trim during the growing season, but I sense, you know, towards the back you kind of neglect as much as the front should be. So sometimes they get out of control, but that's not too bad. The internode is just, so the internodes around the tree are quite nice and small, but then, you know, sometimes they're a bit too far, so you got to bring them back. That's that bit done, and I'll go to the other side. So over here, let's have a look. It's probably going too long. Yeah, I don't mind them. That's all right. I think that will be okay. I might just take that one off there. And maybe this one reduce a little bit here. Yeah, so now I've done this. So I've done this layer down pretty much. Yeah, I think that's dead, that one. That branch here, I think is dead. Yeah, it's definitely dead, so I'll cut that right off. You'll notice the dead ones are looking very frail and dried up. So these things tend to happen. You just got to deal with it and move on. This tree will bust out and grow out anyway. So now we'll work our way to the next level. Now you'll see now we're going to experience a lot more cutting back issues. So this, for example, here is really long. Even though the internodes are nice and short, it's just very fat. It doesn't have that fine twigginess, so I'm going to come back quite a bit. This is just a long internode. Come back, internode, get rid of that. Let's keep working around our way around. Up to here. Now, it's pretty clear there's this one here that's out of shape, so I'm just going to take that off straight away before I get around to the rest. Yeah, I was thinking this looks a bit long, but actually if we put it into this spot here, it's perfect. So when we wire, we'll just wire some of that into shape there, into position there. So keep going around. There's a very fine branch here, it's quite nice, so hopefully that survives and keeps going. A lot of this just has to be properly wired and positioned. Yeah, I don't like putting too much wire on this tree, just slightly. Now I probably won't put anything more than 1.5 mil on this tree. It'll be only at the twigs that I'll be wiring out. I wouldn't even look at the main branches anymore. They're set, they're ready, and I won't touch them. So it's pretty much just I do notice this guy. Yeah, he's a bit strange. He looks like he's growing on top of another branch. I'm tempted to take that off. Just checking this is healthy. Actually, I might leave it. Keep going around. I might have to reduce this guy back down a bit. Just go around. Oh, there's some really heavy stuff again at the back here. So you see this guy, huge, out of control, out of shape. Getting right back. I don't mind that, that's nice and twiggy. Moving up here, this is too heavy, reduce. Well, this is too heavy, reduce. Reduce that a little. So you're just going through the tree and trying to bring it back into some sort of shape. And trying to reduce the really heavy branches. Like, you don't really want much heaviness at the top. So that's the biggest criteria, I think. Slowly going around. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Now look at this side. You can clearly see that is too heavy. So it's way too heavy. We're going our way up. Reduce him. Reduce that. This is just throwing the whole canopy out of shape. So come back. This is also a little bit too thick and heavy. Let's get rid of him for now. The top's actually not too bad in terms of thickness of twigs. Actually, they start off pretty well. It's just when they get to the ends, they start to get too thick. So when they're coming out here, they're actually too thick and been growing on for too long. So just reduce. So that's a quick show on how you just start to trim the tree up. You know, you collect quite a few twigs that you've just cut off. Nothing too much, but it brings the tree back into a good shape and a good, you know, in terms of wiring, you don't have to wire every single branch. You know, cut off the ones you don't need. I'll probably go through, once I start wiring, I'll find things that are probably dead and not healthy, so I'll just cut them off. Or maybe there's a branch that I don't like, so I'll just cut that off. So now pretty much I'll go through and look at wiring this tree up. As I said, I probably only use 1.5 mil on this, anywhere on this tree. I don't think there'll be anything needing more than 1.5 mil aluminium, because everything's quite twiggy now, but it's just subtle things like dropping that a little bit down and then letting it come out, because at the moment it's a bit too springy enough in there, in that position. You know, maybe getting a bit of you know, wire on this guy, bringing him down a little bit. Yeah, but predominantly the tree's looking really nice as it is. In canopy, in leaf, this is just a beautiful full canopy of you know, Trident maple leaves. It's quite beautiful. But because we're showing this tree in winter in Melbourne, you want to really show the twigginess of it, and it's all exposed, so there's nothing hidden. You can't hide behind anything with you know, a winter show or winter display. So it's real positive. But I'm gonna start wiring this tree up, and I'll come back and show you any key things that I've done. Okay, hope you enjoyed that first part. Okay, everyone, so I have finished wiring this tree up. It's a bit sunny now, so you're not going to be able to see much, but I've wired up as much as I can. I didn't do too much wiring. I've actually taken off some wire and I've wired up the rest. Now I've also removed, you see all the weeds are gone. So now it's just a matter of that. We'll just regrow some moss before the exhibition. You can see now, I think that I just you know, spread out some of the branches with a bit of wire. Not too much wire, just a little bit. Just kind of balanced everything back out, put in place. So it looks quite nice now, I think, anyway. See, the top hasn't really been touched. I haven't put much wire at all, just trimmed back a little bit. Bit of wire here and there, makes the tree look quite nice, and that's pretty much ready for the show. The pot will get a nice little bit of polish on there, just with some oil, baby oil usually I use, and the tree should be ready as is. But the moss will grow just by itself, and that's the tree. Just some nice little maintenance work before a show, and that's what you do. Now it's done. So the only dilemma I got is I've got to repot this year, but I'm going to have to wait till after the exhibition on July 27 and 28. As I mentioned, I'll put a link in the comments below regarding the show and all the details. Hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. Make sure you subscribe to get notifications of other videos. Thanks guys, bye.